One of the most common childhood dreams is to find a hidden treasure. It's something that's prevalent in films and news, but you rarely see it happen to people themselves. Fortunately, this dream came true for one person recently on Reddit. Reddit is famous for mystery cases and their community loves a challenge. One of the biggest mysteries in 2013 kept people hooked and left them craving more when it finally came to a conclusion. The poster's friend discovered a large safe in the basement. What the two didn't know was that they were on the verge of initiating one of Reddit's greatest mysteries. The post immediately drew a lot of attention, including from some who claimed to have professional experiences as locksmiths. People quickly identified the exact model of the safe and pointed out several known manufacturing defects. Some also advised him against using brute force methods like taking a torch to the safe over the next month. The original poster went quiet, stopped updating people on this program. Meanwhile, the safe had turned into one of Reddit's biggest stories, spitting out into practically every corner of the site and becoming an inside joke. Some believed they would never see a conclusion to the story until around a month later. The original poster returned with some sad news. He had been forced to put the exciting project on hold due to an unfortunate passing in his family. But in a new post, he claimed to be working on getting the massive safe opened with manual methods. And while he promised regular updates, the post eventually stopped. To this day, nobody knows what was actually in that safe, which is why people's reactions to the new Tennessee situation were so mixed. Many didn't want to get their hopes up, convinced that this was going to be another cliffhanger. In the end, the skeptics couldn't have been more wrong. But before we go to the mysterious farmhouse in Tennessee and take a look at its secrets, let's take a brief trip to Staten Island. After purchasing a house, the new owner was surprised to discover a safe in his backyard. The books would not even have been discovered had the man not decided to do some landscaping on the property, which required a removal of some plants which were keeping the rusty box hidden. What he found inside proved shocking for more than one reason. A pile of money totaling up to $15,000 was his for the taking, but the man had his doubts about what he had run into. Among the piles of money, he also found a note with an address written on it. After some quick internet research, he was shocked to discover that the address actually belonged to his neighbors. He quickly went over and asked them a question that you don't hear every day from people in your neighborhood. Have you ever been robbed? Initially confused, the couple recalled a burglary that had occurred several years ago as part of a series of highly publicized heists, attributed to an unknown criminal only referred to as the Staten Island Ninja. Though a suspect was eventually identified and apprehended, another robbery with a similar mo that took place over a year later made many questions if authorities had gotten the right person. And while the Staten Island Ninja may have never been caught, the new owner of the house with the safe was now in possession of the proceeds from one of his daring burglaries. The man had no hesitation about doing the right thing and returning the money to its rightful owners. But what do you do when the owners are not around you anymore? The Reddit user, who inherited the mysterious farmhouse in Tennessee from his deceased grandparents, remained anonymous throughout the whole ordeal. And that might have been one of the best ideas in his life, judging by what happened once he uncovered a hidden treasure under the stairs of the grandparents' farmhouse. To this day, nobody knows exactly who he was, and while some have apparently managed to trace the location of the house, the full identity of the person behind the mysterious story remains unknown. Why did he gain so much popularity? Here's the major reveal you've been waiting for. Upon taking possession of the house, he started going around to inspect its condition and mark things that needed repairing. He quickly noticed a large number of assorted items spread all throughout the property, leading him to believe that his grandparents were quite fond of collecting random items. But were they truly random? One particular detail stood out like a sore thumb. A carpet in a home almost entirely covered by hardwood flooring and owned by people who were very fond of that design. Why would his grandparents, who loved their hardwood floors, so much go through the trouble of covering that one particular spot in a carpet? His family seemed to carry some peculiar secrets, and he was curious to learn more about this. What would you do if something caught your eye in the home of a family member? Would you leave it untouched, or would your curiosity get the better of you? I can tell you that my curiosity surely would win the battle if I was in his position.
Also, if you've not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these animal stories every day. Now, back to the story.
It didn't take long for the man to learn that he was standing on something extraordinary. Beneath the carpet was the door to his safe, built into the floor, seemingly in good condition. But the combination was nowhere to be found. Until the new homeowner spends a week trying to guess what the code might be, contacting his parents for assistance. He managed to learn that his grandparents owned another safe in the past and was given the combination to that. Was his father's birthday or his social security number? Unfortunately, it was neither of those. The Reddit user's attempts to crack the safe were proving futile, and his frustration was growing every day. Suggestions from other Reddit users didn't seem to be helping, even though some were convinced that they knew exactly what had to be done to get the safe opened. Eventually, professional locksmith was brought on his side to assist in the opening of the steel box. The situation proved to be a challenge, even for him though. At some point during the job, the locksmith apparently admitted that he would have likely turned down a job if he had known in advance how complicated it would turn out to be. But he powered through and eventually made some crucial progress. It took 6 hours for the experienced professional to get the lid open, and by that time, his curiosity about the safe's content was about as strong as that of the owner himself. The two men started to slowly uncover and remove the items contained within the safe, eager to learn what the whole mystery had been about. Initially, the contents of the safe seemed worthless and prompted disappointment. What appeared to be a pile of old colored bricks filled the majority of the safe's interior. And to top it off, everything had been damaged by a water leak at some point. But the two kept pulling items out of the safe, eventually landing upon a huge collection of coins. Many of those coins would later be identified as valuable by commenters following the story. There were also bills along with coins, but they had been damaged beyond any reasonable use. One of them did hold something special though, the authentic signature of the 1986 Secretary of Treasury. More valuables kept coming out of the safe, including a number of silver bars complete with original documentation proving their origin. Now things were getting somewhere, and just when the homeowner thought that he had put the safe mystery behind him for good, he came across something special. A smaller safe around the bottom of the pile of items. But this time, the man knew exactly what had to be done. It didn't take him long to crack that one open, and what he found inside was equally exciting and scary. A collection of antique pistols of various designs filled the safe. And according to the owner, that made perfect sense as he remembered his grandfather had been an avid collector. However, even the poster didn't expect the full extent of his grandfather's hobby and was quite shocked to be in the possession of over 10 different pistols. Many expected the story to continue with more exciting twists, and it did, but not in the way most were anticipating. Sometime after the original post went up, it was mysteriously deleted from the poster's account. Not only that, but he had scrubbed the entire account clean of any references to the story yet. It took time for people to manage to get in touch with him, and what they learned turned out to be quite disturbing. What do you think could have caused him to raise the entire story? As it turned out, he had started to receive messages from various accounts, some of which were claiming to have identified his new house and were openly sending threats. Some claimed that they would personally rob him and steal his new belongings. And when a story reached local news, the man knew it was time to put an end to this and disconnect himself from the incident completely. Today, his Reddit account shows absolutely no trace of what went down. But the story is still out there and still gets on the platform from time to time. Finding a buried treasure can change a person's life forever, but it's not always for the better. Sometimes, some things are best left where they are. Perhaps there's some truth to the classic stories of pirates uncovering long-lost booty only to regret ever coming across it. And while those stories often feature supernatural twists, it seems like one doesn't have to go that far to find reasons to worry. Sometimes, we need to be careful with how we interact with other people. What would you do if you ever found a hidden treasure? Let us know in the comments below. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click on the notification bell to never miss an interesting story. Thank you for watching.